going there somewhere? All right, says it's done. Let's check it out. Okay, thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining our call here on Zoom as well as on Facebook and YouTube. We'll get started with this brief prayer to the spiritual master. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Nati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padkamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahganam Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Danvat Pranam Surbi Govinda Mataji, glad to have you here in the call.
Dandavat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada, everyone. Glad to be back. Trying to get back.
Yeah, welcome back.
So I was just wondering that this is going to be the last class of this year. We're going to herald 2024. So what did we do this year from Bhagavad Gita? Where were we in the beginning? Do we remember? Long way. Okay, what did we do last week?
Last week we read the Bhagavad Gita.
Good. And what did we do before that?
Before that we did memorial service for Meera Mataji's mom. Sorry, I forgot her.
Right.
Yeah. So we haven't done our chapters for 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah, that's what our, who's that? Vindhyavali Mataji was asking, right? That, she said we have not been doing anything for the last 2 weeks. Like, no, we have been doing stuff. It's not like that. Anyway, she was wondering whether we're going to have the class today or not. I said, yes, we are going to have the class, the last class. And yeah, it's been a long year when I'm looking through all the meetings that we had, although it looks like we don't meet that often, in the sense that we meet only 2 times in a week, and this crowd only once in a week. But we do. It's 52 weeks, and take some weeks here and there when we don't do any classes, then at least 40 classes we have, right? At least we would have done 40 verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, right? Which is good to go into the details like that. And then, of course, we were also doing the recitation of Bhagavad Gita we do, and we covered chapter, now we are covered half of it. So that's good. Yeah. So I'm just trying to see what we have been doing. Okay, I have to go the other way around. 1, 1, 1, 1, right? Yeah, so actually on 1st of January, yeah. So we were reading chapter number 3. We were on the 40th verse of chapter number 3 in the beginning of this year. So yeah, I'm just looking at that. Not 22, sorry, 23, sorry. 22, we were on chapter 3. Yeah, I went ahead a little bit more. Let's go back. 4, 22, 22, 22, 23. Here we are. January, actually, we went for the yatra in the beginning of January, right? So I think we stopped our classes somewhere in December. Yeah, 30th December. Exactly last year, this same Friday, we were on 4.39. So we were still doing 4.39. And then after that, we completed whole of 5, and we have now into 6. So completed 4 and then did 5, completed 5, and now we're in the middle of 6. And I think it's going to take us whole of next year to complete 6. That is for sure.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because it's a long
6 is
one.
48. Yeah, 40, the 30. So yeah, we might. And then give and
Yeah.
take things here and there. So we'll just see. Well, today we might make a jump start because there are 2 verses today that we're going to do. So we will get started now without much ado. And then they see what have we been doing in chapter number 6. First, let's do a quick recap, right? Especially because we had a break. So I'm going to bring up chapter 6 here and start sharing with you. Let me know whether you are able to see my screen or not.
Yes.
Okay. So here, this is Dhyana Yoga. And we were talking about Ashtanga Yoga. We talked about the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. And now here Krishna is trying to explain who actually is a true mystic, right? And what his conversation is boiling down to is that we should be unattached to the fruit of our work, right? And it's not that because of taking sannyas or because of trying to do yoga, we should give up whatever we are supposed to do, right? So that person who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he's obligated, right? He's actually the renunciate and he's a true mystic. And then he said that, if a person is renouncing things like that, he's saying that you should understand that this type of renunciation where you are doing your things and you're not interested or connected with the fruits of the results, fruits of the activities or with the result, then he's saying that you should understand that that kind of a process or whatever you're doing there, that should be considered to be the same as yoga or linking oneself to the Supreme. And why does he say that is linking oneself to the Supreme? Because he says that, if you're trying to link yourself to the Supreme, the first thing that you have to do is that you should renounce your desire for sense gratification. And basically, sense gratification means that you go and do certain activities. And as part of those activities, all your focus is on enjoyment, right? Sense gratification is there. You're focusing on the result. And if you look at it, everything that we do in this world, most, like material people, everything that they do in this life or in this world is focused on sense gratification. Either it is a gross sense gratification or it is a subtle sense gratification, but it is still a sense gratification, right? Subtle sense gratification means it satisfies your mind. So we can also derive sense gratification from watching our near and dear ones enjoy things, right? That also is going to give us joy. That also is sort of a subtle sense gratification. So unless and until you give up that sense, if you're able to give up the sense gratification, right, and able to get away from attaching yourselves to the fruit of the results, then you'll become a mystic. And now here he's saying, but then how will you give up that sense gratification thing? Because it seems to be inherent in us, right? So he's saying that unless and until you find your relationship with Krishna, sambandha-gyan, that who am I, who is Krishna, and what is my relationship with Krishna? So what is our relationship with Krishna?
We are part and parcel of Krishna.
Okay. Any other definition of Krishna?
Das or Dasi.
Dasan, Dasi, Das, Dasan, Dasa, right? Yeah. So we are, Krishna is the Akela Krishna, right? And then Sarva or Sabha Hritya, all are servants of Krishna. So this tendency to focus on the results might not go away if you think that I'm part and parcel of Krishna, because then there might be a sense of entitlement that I'm the king's son, so I can enjoy whatever the king is enjoying, right? I'm connected to that. But the moment we realize our Sambandh Gyan, that is, I'm a servant of Krishna, then that thing will go away, right? I mean, you imagine like a servant and a cook in the house will cook nice, delicious things for the master, right? And will not eat till the master has completed. And if nothing is left, then nothing is left, right? So they are really, really cooking for for the master. So similarly, what we also, when you are engaged in devotional service, that is done, right? So then there always comes the question that, should I give up work or should I not give up work, right? So when we are, especially when we are devotional service, one of the thoughts that comes to mind is that, can I just, like resign from my job and give up everything and just go and sit and, not do any work? Should I do that or should I not do that? And so what Krishna is saying here, that, if you are a new person, if you are new in the Eightfold Yoga system, in the new Yoga, then work is set to the meat. You have to do your work. And so you have to do your work according to the scriptures. Whatever you're doing, follow the scriptures, do it, right? But if having followed that structure, having purified yourself, once you reach a higher level, then it's okay for you to give up work. Like, for example, Srila Prabhupada took sannyas. So he gave up, job, etc. He gave up all that. He also gave up his family, right? He was taking care of his family. He gave up all that because he was at an advanced stage, right? And after you give up all this work, it doesn't mean that you sit back and relax, right? You have reached the friendly skies now, like as they announce in the airplane. No, I think Prabhupada worked harder than any of the people around, right? Those who have full-time jobs, even those who work 2 shifts, Prabhupada had continuous shifts, right? Not taking any break at all. So then the question will be asked that, okay, then how do I know when I should I leave or not leave? That is the question. Should I leave my job or not leave my job? That's the question. Then the answer is that people in elevated consciousness can do that. Then the question is then, how will I know I am in elevated level of consciousness, right? So then the 4th verse told us that a person is said to be in elevated yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. So he just does it, like, he has to do it. And then how do we do it, right? How do we reach that? So then the mind comes into picture. After all, this Dhyan Yoga is all about controlling the mind, right? And so he's saying that you could use your mind. He's saying you use your mind to elevate your consciousness. That should be our mood, right? The mood of doing this yoga should be that I want to elevate my mind. Why do I want to elevate my mind? Why do I want to elevate my consciousness? The reason for doing that is that I want to reach that level, that I get out of this material world, and then so that I can serve Krishna better. That should be the only aim of doing Dhyan Yoga. Otherwise, there are side effects of Dhyan Yoga, right? When you start doing Dhyan Yoga, you also get some mystic powers. So there are good side effects of that. And so that should not be the aim, because it can be very, very deviating. It can deviate you from your path and your journey. Right? So with the mind, we can reach, that elevated level of consciousness, employing our mind. But the same mind can also take you in the opposite direction, and it can also degrade you. So here Krishna is giving the instruction that, I have given your mind an instrument. So you use it to elevate your consciousness, but don't use it to degrade yourself. And because this mind can be your friend, and it can be your biggest enemy as well, right? So when we talk about enemies, I mean, our situation is very, very bad, right? And we sing in a very different context. We sing that verse that says, patanga bhringa, that verse which talked about how the deer gives up his life, how the elephant gives up his life, how the patanga or the insect gives up its life, like that, right? So it keeps on listing how different people, different kinds of animals, or insects, they give up life just because one of their senses takes them in an opposite direction and takes them to their demise, right? And then he says that, what to talk about us who have got 5 senses which are so very sharp, right? Like that. So, so senses are there. And So when we talk about, you have to deliver yourself with the help of your mind and not degrade yourself. So the mind can take us on a joyride, and the results will be sense gratification. The lure will be sense gratification. The result that we are chasing, and of course, there's no such thing as sense gratification, in the sense that senses are never gratified. The more you put, the more they want, right? As Prabhupada says that, trying to satisfy your senses is like pouring ghee into the fire to quench the fire. But the more you put the ghee, what happens? The fire itself becomes more like that, right? So he's saying that, you take help of your mind, but do not degrade yourself. Mind is the center of the condition and soul and the enemy as well. And our thing over here is that when we are, so one example is that we have got 5 senses. That's bad enough, The deer has to take care of one sense, the ear, and so on and so forth, right? See, we got 5 senses, but situated in a bad situation, in a bad position, right? So when we are in the army and there's a fight that's going on, right? So there is always, where are you situated? That's a very extreme important. Where are you situated? For example, we talked about, this Vyudham Duryodhanastada. We talked about in the Mahabharata Yudh, when the war started, what did Duryodhana start doing? He first came and he started inspecting the army to see how the army phalanx were laid, right? How they were put there. So why is he trying to do that? Because it's a nice strategy. If you have to fight a war, you have to see where the enemy is located, how they are formed, and things like that, right? So we should also do the same thing for us. Okay, so standing from his side of the Kaurava army, Duryodhan is looking at the Pandava side of the army, right? And he's looking, okay, that's this phalanx they have formed, this phalanx they have formed, okay, and I know how to get out of it and things like that, right? So these are things which are happening, even in the Mahabharata, as you are saying, that you are on one side and the enemy is on the other side and you can see, right? But our situation is even worse. Our situation is worse in the sense that if an enemy, like, if there is India, the borders of a country are there, and you're not on a friendly relationship with the neighbor. So there is, both sides of the army are guarding the borders, right? And occasionally they will fight. But they know this is the line, on that side is my enemy, on this side are my friends. But what if when enemy comes crossover and mingles with your army and you don't even know that he's your enemy? So that is even worse, right? To have the enemy come and become yourself, to have the enemy come inside your side. And that is our precarious situation, that mind as an enemy. If the mind is an enemy, then it is already on our side. It's guiding us, it's advising us, right? And we are taking it and we are naively thinking like, this is good advice. This is very good advice, and let me just go along with that, right? So the mind, and what Krishna is saying here is that, then the mind, when it comes inside on your side of the army, it becomes like your soldier, then it will help to degrade yourself. So don't let it do that, right? Make it your friend. Let the mind be the friend on your side, because an enemy on your side who has come in stealthily into your army, joined your army, is only going to create more problem for you, right? So how do we do that? Right now, my mind is an enemy. I know from the spiritual perspective, mind is an enemy, because mind is constantly telling me, here is sense gratification, there is sense gratification. It is controlling and guiding the senses to go seek sense objects like that, right? So Krishna is then saying that, if you have conquered the mind is the best of the friend. But if you have failed to do so, then if you haven't conquered the mind, then it's the greatest enemy, right? And if you conquer the mind, it's saying that super soul is already reached. And when you reach that particular state, it doesn't matter. Your focus is so much on the super soul that you don't care about the dualities of the material world, happiness and distress, heat and cold, and so on and so forth, right? So when do we say that we have reached that high level? Then he says that, by virtue of acquired knowledge, and not just acquired knowledge, that you have to realize it. Unless and until you don't realize that knowledge, right? It's no good gathering that knowledge also, right? And then once you reach that particular stage, then that person will see pebble, stone, or gold as the same, right? And what it means by pebbles, stones, or gold as the same is that it will see all of them as just material objects. It's not that a person in a higher level of consciousness doesn't distinguish between pebble stones or golds. It does. For example, if a person has got pebble stones and gold, and he's thinking all of them to be the same, it doesn't mean that when somebody comes and asks them, like, give me some donation, I'm building a temple, that they will say, oh, pebble stone and gold are the same, let me give him some pebbles. They don't do that, right? They do make that distinction, right? How and why and where they don't distinguish is in application towards themselves, right? So they will not be rushing after to gather and hoard some gold because that's good, right? So they will see it as the same in the sense that they see that all this is material and Krishna and the soul are spiritual, right? So that's the kind of equal vision that they have, right? So that's one thing to look at things. It's totally another thing to look at people, because people are even more difficult to handle. So it's saying that when you are advanced in your consciousness, it's reached a high level, then what happens is that whether a person is your well-wisher or whether a person is mediator, in between, or just, is not neutral, doesn't care, right? Or even if they are the enemy, we will regard them internally, will regard them as the same. Our behavior to all of them is going to be the same, right? And from our side, we will not say this person is an enemy, so let me try to devise ways on how I'm going to, demolish them, okay? But that doesn't mean that, if an enemy comes and attacks you, that you won't make self-defense, right? From our side, inside, the elevated consciousness looks at an enemy in many different, in a very different way than a person with a lower consciousness, right? How will a person with lower consciousness react to an enemy? If the enemy does something bad to them, equal and opposite reaction, right? That's what you will want immediately, that I want to take back my revenge. And that's what starts the karmic series or chain of karmic reactions. First you do, and then they do. First you do, and then they do, like that, right? So, but here, when a person is in a high level of consciousness, and we said that there are two levels, right? Beginning stage and the higher stage. And what were the words that we were using?
Mhm.
Mataji, just repeat the question, Mataji.
I was saying that we were using two Sanskrit words for people advanced in yoga and not so advanced.
Yoga ruksha and
Yoga
yoga
Ruda
ruda.
and Roga. Sorry.
Everybody spoke at first, I could not hear.
Yoga ruksha and yoga ruda.
Ruda, correct. And who is who?
Yoga ruda is one who has attained, who has reached the highest level, and ruda ruksha is on the first level.
And with respect to the yoga ladder, how will you define these two?
One who has just neophyte is yoga ruksha, and yoga
With respect
ruda
to the
is
ladder.
one who is...
With respect to the yoga ladder, what does arud mean?
Arud means to sudrid.
Going up.
Arud means to climb.
Climb.
Right?
Yeah.
Ashvaruda, one who's climbed the horse.
Climb.
So yoga ruda means one who has climbed the ladder, yoga ladder, right? A neophyte is not yet on the ladder, about to climb. Okay, we'll go and climb sometime. But rogadur is, and then there are steps of the ladder. Right? Like that. So the roga ruda person, what does it do? The yoga rukshu, the beginning, the neophyte. What does the neophyte do? The neophyte will be doing the initial part of the Ashtanga yoga. What are the initial parts of Ashtanga yoga? Yam,
Niyam, Asan,
Pratyahar,
pranayam,
pranayam, dharana, dhyan,
samadhi. Right? So in the beginning stage, they are just grappling with the body. I'm going to go into a particular asana. I'm going to control my breath and so on and so forth. But it's not that it's wrong. It actually leads you and takes you to the higher level where then you have to control your mind. Right? Because Dhyan Yoga is all about controlling the mind. Okay? So now, here he's telling you, a transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and the self, right, in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feeling of possessiveness. So now we are talking purely about Dhyana Yoga. Okay? Just pure Dhyana Yoga, that what a person who's going to go to meditate, this is what he's supposed to do. Okay? So that was the background on what we have been doing in chapter number 6 so far. Now let's go to text 2. It's a dual text today, text 11 and 12.
Right.
Okay, so what does this verse say? It says, śucau deśe pratiṣṭhāpya sthiram āsanam ātmanaḥ nāty-ucchritaṁ nāti-nīcaṁ cailājina-kuśottaram tatraikāgraṁ manaḥ kṛtvā yata-cittendriya-kriyaḥ upaviśyāsane yuñjyād yogam ātma-viśuddhaye. The synonyms: śucau. Śucau means in a sanctified. Deśe, land or a place. Pratiṣṭhāpya, place, right? Like your pratiṣṭha, right? Pratiṣṭhān, like that. It's placing. Sthiram, firm. Āsanam, seat. ātmanaḥ, his own. Na, not. Ati, true. Ucchritam, high. Na, nor. Ati, too. Nīcam, low. Caila-ajina, of soft cloth and deerskin. Kuśa, the kuśa grass. Uttaram, covering. Tatra, thereupon. Eka-agram, with one intention. Manaḥ, mind. Kṛtvā, making. Yata-citta, controlling the mind. Indriya, senses. Kriyaḥ, and the activities. Upaviśya, sitting. Āsanam, on the seat. Yuñjyād, should execute. Yogam, yoga practice. Ātma, the heart. Viśuddhaye, for clarifying. What is the meaning of Viśuddhaye?
Clarifying.
For clarifying, right? Clarify means to clean. Clarified butter. Yeah. Ghee is clarified butter. So let's see, what does the verse here mean? So here it is saying that to practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kuśa grass on the ground and then cover it with a deerskin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Okay? So, where are we going? One should go to a secluded place and should lay kuśa grass on the ground and then cover it with a deerskin and a soft cloth. Okay? All right, so let's see purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sacred place refers to two places of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists, or the devotees all leave home and reside in sacred places such as Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, and Haridwar, and in solitude practice yoga, where the sacred rivers like the Yamuna and the Ganges flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so-called yoga society in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for the actual practice of yoga. One who is not self-controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in the Brihan Naradiya Puran, it is said that in the Kali Yuga, the present Yuga or age, when people in general are short-lived, slow in spiritual realization, and always disturbed by various anxieties, the best means of spiritual realization is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Nastyeva Gati Anyatha. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord, and there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Right, so I just wanted to go back here So where is a person supposed to go to practice yoga?
Secluded place,
A
but here
secluded
Go
they
to a
place.
recommend
secluded
that
place. Correct, right? Okay, so when he goes to secluded, then he puts there, he puts the, what did he put on first? On the ground?
Kuśa grass.
Kuśa grass on the ground. Okay. And then what does he put on top of it?
deerskin,
Deerskin.
And then on top of that,
soft cloth.
Soft.
puts a soft cloth, right? And what is deerskin and soft cloth here in Sanskrit?
Caila-ajina.
Caila-ajina, right? So which one is cloth and which one is deerskin? That might be the question, right? Soft cloth.
Caila is the cloth.
Right? Caila is the cloth and ajin is the
Ajina
deerskin.
is the deerskin.
How will you remember whether this is cloth and whether this is deerskin? The C is for cloth.
C is for, yeah.
Cloth. Cloth, like that you remember, right? Cailājina. Okay. So to practice yoga, he's saying you must go to a secluded place and lay kuśa grass on the ground. Now tell me from scriptures, someone who went to a secluded place to do dhyana yoga.
Bharat Maharaj.
Bharat Maharaj, exactly right? So what they are saying that you should go to a sacred place. So he went to the forest. There were some ashrams there nearby, right? But he was living away from them. He was on his own in a secluded place. Nobody else was there, right? So did I stop sharing? Okay. Let's go back here. And they should lay the kuśa grass on the ground and then cover it with deerskin in a soft cloth, right? So remember, a person has gone there to a secluded place. Now there is nobody to take care of you. And in the secluded place, the only people that are not there are the human beings, but other entities are still there, right? So you have to make sure that you put some kuśa grass on the ground. On top of that, you put deerskin, because you'll be sitting on the ground, so there can be snakes that can come. So it is said that snakes get repelled by the deer skin. And then, of course, the skin will be little, might prick you. So then on top of that, you're going to put a soft cloth on it, right? And śucau deśe, in a sacred place, right? You cannot just do it anywhere. I'm going to do meditation in the middle in New York, under Statue of Liberty, go into the sea, right? Like that. It has to be, and you cover that with us. Now, the question is that, and some question here is that, so deer skin, are we not supposed to be vegetarians? And what are we doing with the deer skin here, right? So one thing to keep in mind is that when these rishis and all they used to sit, you see all the old picture, they're always sitting there, right? Doing meditation, and they have got deer skin, right? So that deer skin, it comes from a deer that has naturally died of natural causes, right? And after it's died for natural causes, you cannot take off the skin, right? Similarly, of other animals, if they're died of natural causes, you're taking off the skin, you're making shoes and like that, that's okay, right? But nowadays what happens is it becomes an industry. And so people will take a bullet and their gun and they will shoot the poor animal, and then they get the skin out of it. So when people, even nowadays, when people go to Haridwar, and if you go to Haridwar, you'll see shops which have got lines of deer skin there, People come there, they want to do a little, because they have come to a śucau deśe, right? They have come to a sacred place. Now they want to do some meditation. So they'll want to go and buy. Of course, they have read this verse also from Bhagavad Gita, so they'll go and buy, right? So when they buy, what they do is they will look at the deer skin and see that if there's a hole in it, right? If there's a hole in the deer skin, means that it was shot, right, and killed. Then they won't buy it, right? So they will look for a skin which is completely whole. This means, okay, now the deer was hopefully not killed and died of its natural death. So, so that's something to keep in mind, that we have to take care of deer skin and we have to put a soft cloth on top of that. Then it says the seat should be neither too high nor too low, right? So one, you have to go to a sacred place, and in the sacred place also you have to go to a secluded place, right? Like Bharat Maharaj went to a sacred place. Dhruv Maharaj went to Madhuban, right? Sacred place. And then secluded, you go inside the forest, secluded, nobody's there, you're on your own, right? So śucau deśe pratiṣṭhāpya. So you go there and then you put kushagra, then you put cailājina on top of it. And then what they're saying is that the seat asana ati nāty-ucchritaṁ nāti-nīcaṁ. He's saying that it should not be too low and not should be very high. Right? So where you're sitting. So why they're saying it should not be very high or not very low? It's because if you put the asana very low, how low can you get? You'll be on the ground and they'll say, oh no, this is not low enough. So then you dig a hole and then you go inside it. Like, oh, I'm lowest of the lowest. I'm very low and I'm going to practice and do my meditation here. Nobody can disturb me, right? But if you're sitting like that in a hole and you're in the forest, in a secluded place, other animals can come, dust can settle on you and you could be gone like that, right? So they say it's not a good idea to stay in a very lower position. It's sometimes always good to be in a high position, right? I mean, I remember I live in the 3rd floor, which is the topmost floor of my apartment complex here. And the reason for that is I didn't want other people's bathrooms to leak on top of my roof like that. So I want to be on the top. So being low is not good. Look at the people who are on the ground floor, right? People can drop stuff into their home from the top. What do you do? And suffer. And so we try to make these little adjustments in the material world because I had burnt my fingers very badly. My one flat ground floor where I used to live in a ground floor. It was a very, very beautiful flat. I was renting it in India. And the person on the top of it purchased that flat and he wanted to renovate the flat. And he renovated that. So whole day there were hammers, etc. And they broke the pipes and all the water kept on coming and the whole flat, all the ceiling of my flat were completely gone. And I would go and complain, they won't listen. It's not like here in USA, if somebody does that and you go to the police and they'll stop it, right? It's not like that. You keep on just saying that. Anyway, I left that place. I was renting it. So I had the choice of leaving it. And then the next place where I went, it was like, no, I don't want ground floor. I took ground floor because of a small child, but I'm not going to stay in a small ground floor. I'm going to go on the topmost floor. I'm just going to stay there. I will be safe. Right? So I went to the topmost floor. And then one fine day, there were torrential rains in Delhi. And guess whose ceiling got the water?
Yours.
So this is what happens in the material world, that you keep on making small adjustments and you keep on thinking that, oh, this will be good, this will be good. Oh, I will dodge this duality, I will dodge this. No, as much of water is going to leak as you are destined, it will leak from nowhere, right? And then after that, I came to USA. And I said, okay, this is a fine country, nice, good apartments. And the only place that was available was on a middle floor. It was not ground floor, it was a middle floor and somebody on the top. But I thought that's fine, things won't leak here. And now if anything leaks, you immediately call and they'll tell you, right? So at 12 o'clock in the night, suddenly from, my upstairs person's toilet starts leaking. And suddenly in that area, water comes down like a rainfall. It's coming into my floor. And it's at 12 midnight, my husband and I calling, the housekeeper to come and take a look. He goes there, he knocks. So the person on the top, was having some bad day. He smoked so many cigarettes and then he threw each of the cigarettes in the toilet. And then he flushed the toilet, it was choked from all these cigarettes which are there. And it overflowed and it came into my house. So if you think that I'm going to leave one country and I'm going to go to another country and my roof will stop leaking. You can go to the moon planet, but still your roof can leak on you. Right? So that's why I said that your karma really follows you. Okay, so all these adjustments they're doing. So anyway, so we were talking about nāti-nīcaṁ. Don't put your asana at a very lower place, right? And it is also saying don't put it on the very high place. So why are we saying that don't put on the very high place? What if, like there's a village here down below in the Silicon Valley, and then there is some mountainous regions, and I'll go to the top, right? Like that, right? So I had noticed that from wherever I live in the valley, and from wherever I live, I see things. It's nice, it's beautiful, but that's pretty much it, right? And then I went to do book distribution. So some people wanted Bhagavatam sets to be delivered to their homes, and so I went to the home. We just had the address, no idea. So my husband would drive and we would go there. And it was beautiful. It was a Sunday morning and winter season, sometime around last year. and we went there, and we didn't know that it was up in the mountains. Their whole house was up in the mountains. And then we went there, and they started showing us the house, and we went in, and okay, come to a patio. So we went to the patio. And from that place, in Belmont, I could see all the way up to San Francisco. And it was beautiful. So from there, and I was like, oh, wow, this is so nice, right? And then you want to sit there, and then you want to watch it. So if you put your asana at a very high place and you think I'm going to meditate there, that's not going to happen, because there will be those kind of disturbances will be there, right? And there was a verse from Bhagavatam that Prabhupada quotes in the purport, but he doesn't necessarily see the Sanskrit. Manda sumanda mateo madda bhagya upadita, right? So he's saying that in this age, we are always disturbed. Varshana Mataji.
Mataji, I know of a person, an old person. He was doing yoga, and he always used to sit on a kind of a bed, wooden bed, like in Hindi it is called taktaposh. So he used to sit on that and meditate. And in meditation, he went off to sleep, Mataji. And he fell down from there and died. So I was just thinking that sometimes, nāty-ucchritaṁ can be deadly that way also.
Correct. It can be deadly. And that's also one of the reasons they say that one is that if you go very high, you will have scenic beauty. So you see all that gets distracted. Yeah. The mind is chanchal, right? It'll go here and there. And the second, like you pointed out, is that, as you are meditating, you can fall asleep. And then if you're high, then you will fall down. That's also one of the reasons that Krishna is saying, nāti-nīcaṁ, nāti-ucchritaṁ, nāti-nīcaṁ. Like that, right? And then the yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga, right? So you have to be very firm. So what is not allowed? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. No, you have to sit still. Right? So you have to be firmly situated there. Right? And okay, so you sit on it very firmly and practice yoga now to purify the heart. So very important thing is that you are practicing. Why am I practicing yoga? Right? I started doing some asanas some 14 years ago, or 10 years ago. No, 14, 15 years ago, to get a better physique, like that. That's not the reason you do yoga. There are so many yoga parlors here. People go there. You don't want to go to the gym, go to a yoga thing. It's more elite. Then you can talk in the parties that, hey, I'm doing yoga these days, right? Gym, everybody goes. Yoga is more polished, like that. So, so what this is saying is that you have to be firmly situated, and then you have to practice the yoga to purify the heart. That is the main thing, right? That is the main thing. So, although we do not practice dhyana yoga, right? In ISKCON, we don't practice dhyana yoga. We do bhakti yoga, right? We chant the holy names of the Lord. We do deity worship, read Srimad Bhagavatam, go to the holy places, the dham, chant, dancing, dance, have prasadam, like that. That's what we do, right? So although we don't do that, we don't do dhyana yoga, but the ultimate aim and the ultimate goal of both of them is the same. And that is to purify your heart. If that is not happening, then there's no point, right? For example, here and everywhere nowadays, actually, you see yoga parlors, right? I remember watching a video where they were doing, the Surya Namaskar is a difficult one, because, you stand, you put your hands up, then you go downward dog position, and you raise up. It's a thing, right? And then you raise one leg up in the air. So they would do this Surya Namaskar with a wine bottle. And then as you were doing your maneuvers, the wine bottle would go from one leg, it will come to a shoulder, it will come here. And then, of course, in the end, you will drink it all. So there is no, there is no purification that is happening, right? There's no purification. Wine is an alcohol. We might just think alcohol is nothing, but it is dangerous. To drink alcohol is supposed to be mahapap. It's not just pap, it is mahapap. Right? So there's a story about a man who was, a Panditji in India, and then it was during the rules of the Britishers. So one British person, police fellow, whoever, he caught him. And he said that, I'm going to kill you. He put the gun on his temple and he said, I'm going to kill you unless you do one of these things. So what are these things? So that here is a woman you enjoy. Here is some meat. You can eat it, right? Here is some wine. You can drink it. And here is some cards, and you can bet on it and play that game. So then the man started, analyzing each one of that. So he said, oh, this woman, a very beautiful woman, was there sitting, right? So he said, no. For me, I'm a married man. For me, every other woman is a mother or a sister, right? Because the mind is very strong. And our Shastras tell you that you should not even stay alone with 3 people. Mother, daughter, sister. Right? 3, a man should not stay with them. So he said, I cannot do that. I will not do that. So he was like, okay, what else? So then he looked at it and he said, oh, gambling. No. Gambling is not good. I won't do gambling. Then meat was left. So he said, no. I mean, when you killed the animal must have screeched. He must have felt the pain. He must have felt all of that. I'm not going to. I cannot eat meat. So he said, okay, here's the gun. You tell me. So then the last thing that left was alcohol. So he said, well, it's okay. It's only alcohol made from fruits. So it's not non-vegetarian, right? And so I'll take it because all the other 3s are unacceptable to me. I cannot do that. So he takes some alcohol and then he's sitting there. And of course the gun is removed. So now he's relaxed. And after some time, he starts looking at the woman and now wants to enjoy with her. So although he thought that alcohol is nothing, alcohol leads you to other things. Now the woman will bring meat and then you can't say no to her, right? Mohini Murti. Difficult. Like that, right? So we have to be careful of purifying the heart. And alcohol will not purify your heart. And if you're doing yoga with the alcohol there, and at the end of the yoga, you are drinking all that alcohol, what's going to happen? Right? So there's not going to be any purification of the heart per se that we want, right? So the aim. So what I was saying was that they go and they sit, they meditate, they put the gusha grass and they do all kinds of things they will do, right? And we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's what Prabhupada is saying, right? But it doesn't mean that we don't do any of those other things. Śucau deśe pratiṣṭhāpya, right? So what we will do it in a clean place. Even if you are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we'll try to do it in a clean place as a routine. At least our 16 rounds should be done in a clean place. Don't go and sit in a bar and say, I'm going to chant here. Śucau deśe, right? It's a sacred place, right? And then also it should be ekaki, right? Secluded place. Don't go to a party and then have your hand in the beat bag and conversation is going on and sometimes you also contribute in the middle of the chanting and the nice chanting is going on, right? Yeah, you'll cover many rounds that day in this relaxed manner, right? That's not the issue, right? So we also do that, right? Now we also can have an asana. We don't need deerskin or whatever like that, but it's always good not to sit on the ground. It's always good to separate ourselves, right? And so put something which is cloth, put something which is not a good conductor. And these deerskin and all are also not good conductors of what do they conduct. So when we are doing any devotional practice, there is some energy that comes, electrical energy is produced in our body. And if you're sitting on the ground, it gets earthed and it'll go into the ground, right? So that's why we want to retain that energy in our body. So that's why we put a little conductor, bad conductor between us and the ground. So here also you'll sit nicely, sit in an asana. You can, if your legs give you trouble, then you sit on a chair, right? But it should be in a sacred place. Doesn't mean that I have to go to Haridwar to chant, but in your own home, you can designate an area that this is my sacred area. This is my puja room. Or the corner of that particular corner of the room is my puja, but that particular corner of my room is my chanting area. I go and do my chanting there, which means I will not do other things there, right? So I will not take a Bollywood song on my cell phone and sit there and watch that also. No, we have to make that distinction. No, this is my sacred place. This is where I chant, and I'm going to retain the sacredness of this place by doing that. So we also maintain that. We also will not go and sit on the very top and chant. We also won't go on the top. They say asana. They're saying you sit firm. We are definitely allowed to walk, right? You have japa walks, right? But one of the things about japa walks is also that, for us who are neophytes, we should not go out on walks for japa. What's going to happen if you go out and walks? Then you'll say, okay, oh, I have not explored this part of New York. Let's go on a walk here. Oh, I have not explored that part of Pune. Let me go there and explore. Oh, this street. Then what's going to happen when you're exploring? Your mind is going to go here and there. The senses are going to capture information. So your focus from the japa will not be there. If at all you think you have to sit up and walk, just walk inside the room. Okay? Now, however, if you don't have time to chant at all and you have to keep yourself healthy also, so there's a walk that you do. You have your force to combine there, whatever, extremes of reasons, but that's not a desirable thing. Your desire should be to set aside a neat and clean place and then chant the rounds there. Like that, right? So he's saying the yogi should sit on it very firmly, practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities, and focusing the mind on one point, right? So this is also very, very important, that you should focus your mind on one point. And what is that one point? That point is Krishna. You have to focus your mind on Krishna. Whatever you're doing, because it's only when you focus your mind on Krishna, that is only when purification is going to happen. Just so we see, as an iron rod comes in contact with the fire, it starts to act like fire. And from long practice of chanting, you will observe purification is happening. You will find yourself catching in the middle of our thought processes, right? For example, they say that we should be para sukhi, sukhi, para dukhi, dukhi, right? That's what we should be. But is it like that? We are opposite, right? Para dukhi, sukhi. When somebody else is unhappy, we are happy. And worse still, when somebody else is happy, we become unhappy. Right? You might not have a car and you are okay with it. But the moment the neighbor buys a car, something starts happening. Right? Matsara. Envy. So we are so engrossed in this. We are so engrossed in have it, do not have it, high and low, rich and poor, beautiful and not beautiful, intelligent, not, successful, not successful. We are constantly measuring against these parameters ourselves and measuring others as well. And then we feel sad or happy accordingly, right? So, and what is that sad? What is that happiness? All the mind is playing all these games over us, right? So instead of that, as we start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra over a long period of time, you will catch yourself. That you will now say, okay, this person bought a Lexus, or I don't know, whatever is the car these days, Tesla, right? He bought that. So then you will say, okay, bias credits, must have done something good, has received Krishna's mercy to reduce some of the problems in life, right? Maybe more will come, but that's a different story, right? Ease of life, ease of living, happiness. And then you might also say, oh my God, I hope that person just doesn't get so much entangled in the new car that he forgets other duties, and the prime duty is to is to do devotional service to the Lord. I hope that person retains that. So a sadhu thinks very differently than the normal, right? And as you start observing your thoughts, this is, and noticing that, hey, catching yourself in the act of, thinking bad thoughts, and then next time, even not thinking it, or even if you started the process, stopping the process halfway through, right? That is purification of the heart. And that purification can come from Dhyana Yoga also. And that, after all, Dhruv Maharaj got it from Dhyana Yoga. Narad Muni got it from Dhyana Yoga. So people do get it. But that is in a different yoga. It doesn't happen in this millennium. Right? In this millennium, the Yuga Dharma is to chant the holy names of the Lord. Right? But we have to do it in an organized manner. Right? One is that we can do the chanting, we can do the japa as we do here. Another is that we do the congregational chanting, some kirtan together. People go and do that, right? So when we go and do the some kirtan, it's not that people are, some means together. Together means in a rhythm, in an organized manner, right? So sometimes some people are there that everybody's singing and they are singing at the topmost voice, so that all the people here around is their voice, which is off key. So it's not like that. When we are singing together, we have to be together. We have to be in rhythm.
Not only Mataji, that kartal. If they play the kartal their own, yes, God, you cannot sing it all.
Yes, yeah. So musical instruments have a way on the impact on the singer. Yeah. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went for the Rath Yatra, the famous, where Pratap-Rudra was also there, he was sweeping the floor. You will see that picture, right? When he was sweeping all that. So, so he had organized a party. There were 7 groups that he organized. And each of the groups, he had 2 mridanga players. So there were 14 mridanga players. And he had designated that this person is going to sing, call, and these 2 are going to respond. So like that, he had completely organized that. So all these things that we do here, japa, etc., that we do, they also have to be organized. So it's not that only the Dhyan yogis have to think about proper etiquette, proper situation, proper material, and things like that. Even we have to think about that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the, setting the guidelines there. He does that, and you can read that in Chaitanya Madhya Leela over there. Right? You were saying something, Vinyavali Matsi? You, Varshana Mataji, is that a hand?
Mataji, I have a question. Somebody, a friend of mine, she asked me that, not that she has a small house, house is not small, she has just started chanting.
What happened?
Did we lose Varshana Mataji?
Yeah.
Internet.
Where she goes and says, they come there. So Mataji, in such conditions,
we were not able to hear you, Mataji, at all. So you have to repeat yourself, please.
Mataji, my question is, a friend of mine who has a not a small house, but grandchildren are there. And she, you see, wherever she goes to chant, the children go behind her. And they want to sit in her lap and hold the bead bag, and then you see they keep on troubling her. So she was asking me, what should I do?
What did you tell her?
I told her to get up early before the children get up and then do it.
Yes, that's the only thing to do. I remember Vaisheshika Prabhu tells that story, right? See, he went to one of the temple president's home. And of course, they would get up early in the morning, this Mangalati and all that they were doing. And then the man was doing all the other work. And by 6:30, he was done with everything that needs to be done in the home, chanting, etc. Everything was done. Because he said at 6:30, the kids wake up and they take over the home. They are just taking over, complete control of the home, right? So better do it before. That's the only way. Go to sleep early. Good thing is the children go to sleep early. So you can also sleep early, right? And unless there is some work, or unless somebody is very hard pressed in life and has to do a lot of work, you know, we all can go to sleep early. What is it that prevents us from going to sleep early? Is the television.
Yeah.
Right? And
Mother, I now don't even know how to turn on the television.
Very
Since
good,
last
yeah.
so many years, I haven't touched the television.
Even I don't know the power button of my television. Yeah. I don't even know the make. It's in some room. Yeah. And so somebody in the lectures was saying this, that the television is like Putana, the demon. How is television like the Putana? How is television like Putana, the demon? So he said, well, you know what? Vrindavan, right? How did Putana enter Vrindavan when she came to kill Krishna? Right? She was a demon. So she flew. She flew in the air, and then she descends, changes into a beautiful woman, and then she comes, right? And tries to kill Krishna. So she's known as Khechari, right? Khe means in the sky. Khechari, the one who moves in the sky is Khechari. And so whatever comes from the sky is Putana. And it's a television. From where does all that information come to you? The television is showing you. It comes from the sky. So he's saying that in Kali Yuga, Putana was somewhere and then had to fly and come into, Gokul and then try to kill Krishna. But he says now in Kali Yuga, in that Yuga, Dwapar, but in Kali Yuga, Putana is in everybody's home.
But what about cell phone, Mataji?
Sorry?
What about cell phone?
You want to give a name?
I think cell phone is worse than TV.
Putana.
Yeah. You can
Because
take it
TV,
wherever
you can
want.
choose not to turn on, and not watch. You can
Yeah, TV
take
you
yourself
can't.
away from TV. But the phone, it's like we've become slaves of our phones.
Not only that, Mataji,
And phone gives you facilities of a TV also.
telephone.
Mataji, I
Oh
heard
yeah,
a
but
lecture.
no.
I heard a lecture of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhuji from Pune, and his interview with Prabhuji, and he asked him the question that how come Prabhuji you are not using the smartphone these days? He uses only that Nokia ka chote wala phone, and he says, you see, when I had the phone, I found he's a president of Pune temple. So he says there were so many calls and so many messages that I said that this is too disturbing. So he gave away that phone and took the other small phone, and he said, I will respond to your emails, not to your messages and not to your phone calls. Just write to me the email, and at night I will go through the email and I will respond you in that very day. That I can do, but I will not use the phone. He doesn't use the phone, Mother. He only uses that Nokia ka phone.
Exactly. And this is Dridhavata. This is determination. This is determination that I want to do it like that.
And another thing, Mataji, I heard, which was amazing, Mataji. I mean, I met him and he told also that he eats only khichdi, Mataji.
Wow. No wonder he's so super intelligent. Yeah.
Only khichdi, Mataji, in the afternoon and at night at 6:30, whatever is his time, he takes only khichdi. And he cooks it himself. And he adds all the vegetables in that, and he has only that. Nothing else. He says, I have never fallen sick. I had never had a stomach problem. I never had any problem because I'm having khichdi.
Wow. Yep. See, something to learn.
Really, Mataji, amazing.
Yeah, Radhesham Prabhu is, Vaishnavi Prabhu always says, like the super genius. He comes up with such amazing,
My God.
yeah, amazing
Amazing.
thought processes,
One
amazing
thing,
things. Especially the
Mataji,
youth
these
program that he has done, amazing. I mean, you know,
Amazing.
decades he has spent
elderly
there.
people, they can control these TVs and cell phones. What about the small children? They make hell, they cry, they just roll. And unless you give the phone, the mothers give the phone. They don't want to eat anything. And they give the phone, they'll be quiet.
Yeah.
But I see all these 1-year-old babies, they want phones.
I saw a child in a what is that called? Walker. What is that called? We call it pram. What is called here in USA? Sukumal Radhe?
Stroller.
Stroller.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, stroller.
Stroller.
Yeah. So the child was lying in the stroller and there was the iPad in front of him.
That's all.
Oh.
And you won't see where the child is. It's so quiet.
Quiet. Yes. They're quite
Otherwise,
samadhi.
she-
That is samadhi.
It's hell
Dhyana
of-
yogam. Dhyan is Dhyan is in the wrong topic. But what
Yeah.
that shows you is that the mind and the body are capable of doing into samadhi. It's not that your body cannot do it. It can do it. Right? The child is doing it.
But
Parents'
it's
fault.
the wrong.
Wrong way. Correct.
Focus is
Yeah.
wrong.
But they
Focus.
say, no, what to do, Mataji? She's crying. That's why I gave her. Like
It's
that,
not
they are-
because she's crying, it's because you want her to be quiet and you want some peace. That's
Yeah.
why you give her a phone and
Exactly.
and then you do what you want to do.
Right, Sukumal Mataji.
Yeah.
You don't give the time which we have given time to the children.
Yeah.
We used to sit with them, talk to them, read the stories to them.
Yeah. Now they will eat
Yeah.
also only if the TV is on. Then they won't even know what they're eating. They'll just eat everything.
That's
They
it.
will know what they're eating because they will look at it and say, I don't want to eat it. I want
No, but if it's in
pasta
front
and
of the
chutney.
TV, they will eat it.
TV, then they can eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, they will.
But I put something there. God.
See,
Which is
all
so
these
wrong because these senses
parents.
are meant to engage in the eating. And they say that, you know, the digestion actually starts from the fingers. The finger has to touch the food.
Even they say,
And then
don't
it
eat
digests
food.
in the mouth. So how will it digest in the mouth? And one of the reasons for obesity in this time is because we do not allow the food to touch the tongue enough for it to be satiated. So we put and it's gone. It's not
Got it.
satiated. We put some, it's gone. Put, it's gone. In the earlier times, you know, we used to sit down quietly. There was no television. We would sit there and eat. And
Chew
also,
it.
we're not supposed to eat. We're not supposed to talk during eating.
Yeah.
Focus completely on your food. And then the digestive juices will, you know, be produced because the eyes are seeing it. And, you know, like the nose is smelling the food. Nowadays, it's no idea. In 30 seconds flat, the lunch is gone, you know.
One thing,
That's
Mataji,
what-
Sobarade Mataji, when kids were 3 kids, they were until the 7-8 years. She said no television, and their television used to be in the basement, but she said no, it's not working. They listened. Now they're all teenagers are after 24, 23. They're using the television. Who will stop that? That's all. They're grown up. So those are the things they need to learn.
Yeah.
And they grow up. But that system is not correct, Mataji.
Correct. But then the thing is that, you know, this is what Kali Yuga is. Kali means machines. The Yuga of machines. The machines will be there. I mean, they are self-driven cars.
Oh, God. That's
Right?
true. That's true.
Kali means machines, Mataji. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Kali
Oh, Kali means machine.
also means machine. Yeah. Yeah, we do everything with machines, right? What we used to do with our power, you know, now we do with machines. Like Narad Muni does interplanetary travel himself through his mind power. And we set up billions of dollars and we shoot a rocket. We don't even know where it goes.
Few seconds, Vashana Mataji stopped the internet. We were watching her. We couldn't hear her. You remember a few minutes ago, Mataji?
Yeah.
So
Technology.
that's how we are with the machines and
Yeah.
internets and other things.
All right. So that's all it is. Well, we are entering into another new year. in Kali Yuga, but we are happy and we are fortunate and we are grateful to Srila Prabhupada for exposing us to this literature. And we pray to the Lordships and to the Parampara that they continue to guide us in next year and all the years that we are here on this planet. And thank you so much, dear devotees here, for being so consistent in coming to Krishna Katha every year and every Friday, risking
Thank
your television time and friend time.
You
and-
make it happen.
I don't know. Krishna makes it happen.
I wrote a text to you and
Krishna made it happen through you.
Mataji.
Well, Nimitta
said-
matra bhava sabhyasya.
Nimit. Yeah.
Nimit.
I was thinking whether class is there or not. I was sending messages to everybody. Aruni Mataji, Girima Mataji, Vashana Mataji, and you. Finally, I got your message and I said, okay, I'll get into the few minutes later.
Vindhyavali Mataji, if there are no communication on Bhakti Vriksha, then that means the class is always there.
Okay.
Only if it is cancelled, you will get a notification. So that way you will
Garima
know.
Mataji said, no, did you get any message, Mataji? No, I didn't get any message. So I used to get, no.
No, no,
So
no.
it's 2-3 classes I'm not attending, I think.
Last
know.
week it was Gita Jayanti, Mataji.
Ah, that is the reason I didn't have the class. Okay. Got it.
Right?
But I
And-
missed just in 2-3 times.
Right,
I don't
right. Yes, and before that I think you were there because or maybe not. It was Madhav Sangini Mataji's anniversary. I think
She wasn't there.
was not there.
Mothers.
Yeah, she wasn't there.
You had missed it for some reason. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's why 2 classes I Anyway, thank you very much, Mother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One chapter.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Dandat Pranam. Take care.
Pranam to everyone.
Bharade Mataji's eldest son got engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
Very nice. Who's the lucky girl?
The girl is from Canada.
From India?
Canada.
Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, cross border. Okay, good.
Now they are thinking how to cross the border. Engagement is over, but they want to do bedding, just simple bedding to apply for the visa. She has to apply for the visa, no?
I know. The legal wedding. And then the Vedic wedding. Yeah.
That's what. So, but it was good.
So girl is also a doctor, Madane? So called Madane?
No. She's not doctor. She's working in Edmonton. And this boy is
Edmonton, yeah.
Edmonton, Canada.
Yeah.